All right. Welcome to Anchor Point. We are a youth-led podcast about relationships and people. Understanding others is rather difficult, so by talking and getting to know people, we may better navigate life and its complexities.
Yay!
I rotated that.
Wow.
Very impressive.
Yeah, it's
Indeed.
pretty good.
Such a great job, buddy.
You did.
Yes, you did.
Thanks. I don't know if I should take that as a threat or not.
It is a threat. We're going
in a
to kill
friendly
you
threat.
It's a very loving
Or-
threat
In
with
a-
hearts next to it.
for,
Murder me in a nice
with
way.
hearts.
I say.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
You
what I
know?
say. Good heart.
Okay, so why don't we go ahead and introduce ourselves? Isel?
Hi, I am Azel. I am 18, an artist, actress, a recent college dropout as well. And I'm going to be bigger than Walt Disney one day.
Walt Disney was like, what, 5'7"? I actually have no idea. I wouldn't be surprised. He seems like a short guy, you know what I mean? Like I hear he's pretty angry, you know, so he's got to have that short guy rage.
My
Oh,
name's
no, he's 5'10"? Dude, I'm 5'7".
Yeah,
Dang.
Azel, you're going to have a little bit of trouble there unless you can set some platform shoes on. I think they'd suit you.
I'm sorry. So how did you join the podcast?
My amazing psychology and theater teacher, Miss Pomerlo, gave me a flyer encouraging me to get a job since I didn't have a job at the time and I needed a job. And I got an interview with a man who is not working with the podcast. I believe his name was Paul. He was very excited to meet me on the phone and in person. He was a nice man. And this has just been a joy working with this, and I believe my other friends have a part in this as well, but I'll let them talk about it.
Hi, my name is Lee. I'm 18 years old. Besides that, I'm goth. I'm a poet, and I'm really into brain science, psychology, neuroscience. This project seemed interesting. It seemed up my alley. Oh, and I'm also an actor, and I want to be able to act professionally one day. So I had found about the podcast also through my theater teacher because I was in the same class as Azel, and she had been bugging me about it for a bit. And I had been really averse to the idea at first because it was my senior year of high school and I had just moved out of my mom's house like a year prior, but I was adjusting to that still. And I was so burnt. And the thought of having to add another thing onto my plate, even if I was not going to be in school anymore, sounded like a lot before college. And so I decided to just go to the interview, see what the hours were like. And it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. And so I decided to take the job since it was so flexible. After I had found out about it, I had gone to my friend Charlie. And I had been asking them about if they also wanted to join.
My name is Charlie. I'm trying to think of what I'm supposed to say because honestly, in all honesty, my sense of self is very wibbledy wobbly and it is not a good thing. But I can try and compile everything. I like art and drawing, and I'm really into fandom spaces, and I am a Tumblr user. So in the future episodes, you're probably going to hear me use a lot of Tumblr speak. So I'm
use
warning you
Tumblr?
now. Yes, I do
I
use
knew
Tumblr.
it. You are the most Tumblr user I've ever.
dude.
Oh my god.
What's up?
What's Tumblr?
You don't know Tumblr?
You know what Tumblr is?
I also
It's
don't
like
know what
it's
Tumblr is.
evil Facebook for.
Yeah.
For gay people.
Oh.
I'm like the biggest introvert. I don't talk to people in real life and I don't talk to people online, so I'm a little closeted.
Yeah, so I joined the podcast because it started out because my math teacher, who was also my speech and debate coach. Hi, Miss Sherman, if you're listening. I love you.
Miss Sherman.
Not in a
is
weird
very-
way. Yeah, so my teacher sent me the flyer through text. And she was like, you should be involved in this. I think you'd be really good at it. You were great in speech. You had amazing points. And I know you like to talk about things in regards to mental health. And I think you would enjoy it a lot. And I saw it and I was like, I don't really want to do that. I think I'd be bad at that. But then, I was in theater class and Lee peer pressured me into joining.
So pushy about it. Just
Absolutely.
evilest.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Terrible.
Lee actually threatened to beat me up if I didn't
did?
join. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
terrible.
I mean, I have a
you know?
100% win rate.
Oh, absolutely. And so I was
100.
I was scared for my life, you know? So I called, and like minutes before Lee had called them. So they were like, actually, someone else just called.
Yeah, it was really funny though, because I think I walked up and I was kind of listening into the call as you were talking to him, setting up the interview. And he's like, you know, that's weird. I just got a call from someone about this. As I'm sitting there like 2 feet away, like, I wonder who that could have been. Ooh, big mystery.
So it was really funny. That's all I have to say. Okay, so Marcus, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself before we like beat you up?
Okay, they're all pointing finger guns at me. This feels like I'm being held at gunpoint. Well, I mean,
But
I
you
am
are.
a finger
Yeah,
gun
we're
point.
gonna get you.
All right. Well, under mounting pressure, I am Marcus. Anyways, I am a junior in high school. I like music. That's something that I like to do. I'm also a big history buff. In fact, I run the World History Club at my high school, which is quite fun and, of course, makes me extremely popular. Not really. I also like geography. I like the world. I really, really like maps, like cartography and maps and countries
Absolutely.
and stuff. Mental health has always been an interesting subject to me, so that kind of is what drew me here. Also, I really have a large fascination with Gouda cheese and also Swiss cheese and pepper jack cheese. Those are pretty good. Do you hear that music playing in the background?
Yeah, I was wondering
It
what that was
happens every
earlier.
time. I actually am
kinda
not
nice. It's
hearing it.
smooth
So you
jazz.
guys,
Also
It's
not
you guys are
hearing
just
the music.
having
Jazz.
a collective hallucination,
Bro,
and that's
he is
okay.
singing his heart out.
but
No, I was going to say about that earlier, but I thought it was like coming from inside of the house.
oh,
The call is coming from inside the house.
Okay, so well, you guys all like got invited to the podcast or whatnot, like by normal means. For me, it was mostly my mom made me. Made me is the wrong word. Let me rephrase. The way that I joined the podcast or heard about it was my mom told me about it. You know, my mom, she's a very nice lady, and I love her very much, and she's probably listening right now, so hi, Mom. Also, if you could get me some more socks, that would be greatly appreciated, because I am kind of running out of socks, and I know that you know this because I kind of complain about it a bit. So
We're gonna be
that-
waiting a bit for those socks, man. I don't know when this is coming out.
I'm pre-ordering. Anyways, yeah, so my mom was like, "Hey Marcus, you're unemployed. Would you like a job?" And I'm like, "Yes, I would." And she's like, "There's this place doing a podcast about mental health, and I know that you are interested in that quite a bit, and I'm friends with the people who work there, and I think you'd have a great time." And I said, "Yeah, I think so too." And I showed up. I was very nervous, and then I meet all of you guys except for McCole. You weren't there yet.
Yeah, sorry,
I
guys.
dragged you in here later, screaming and kicking too, but not really. All right, McCole.
Oh, well, I'm Nicole. I'm 16 years old and I'm a junior at Delmar High School. You guys are putting me on the spot right now.
we're gonna stare you down.
Oh you all are.
We're gonna hit you
okay.
with the Eric
You
Hudson
just did
right
this
now.
to me. Why are you surprised?
Ooh, I do like to read a lot. Still stared me down. Okay. I am really into reading, and also conspiracy theories, and I'm really happy to be here. I joined this podcast because Marcus over here, I was explaining very shortly a video game to him.
Not
And-
shortly. Not shortly. Hang on, wait. Let me tell this story here. So we were hanging out, right? And then she was like, "Hey, have you heard of this game called Sally Face?" Right? No, I hadn't. 2 hours of talking about Sally Face. It was great though. It was very funny. I know everything about Sally Face. Kind of. I forgot all of it.
You can listen to it again.
No.
Yes,
Yeah,
anytime.
Nicole. Why don't you
Guys.
go ahead and explain Sally Face?
I will
lore?
right now for this entire episode. No, but Marcus here did tell me about the podcast, and he was like, "You yap a lot," and I decided to get an interview, and I got in.
In fact, Nicole actually joined the podcast after us.
I did.
Me, Charlie, Marcus, and Azel, we all got hired initially, and we went to the podcast and we got to know each other, and we were supposed to have a fifth member that never showed up or declined the job. And so we had an extra space, and we decided, I mean, my main argument point was that voting would be better with an odd number of people, and Marcus had, you know, just the friend who he thought would be perfect for it.
Cartoon light bulb came up above my head and a glint in my eye. I smiled wide and I pointed my finger in the air and I said, I got one.
Marcus only has one singular eye, by the way. He's a pirate.
Yeah.
Yar.
Yep.
I'm gonna be honest, I was a little nervous coming in with you guys already knowing each other.
Yep.
But you guys are really inviting, and I had a great time.
I will say we do actually have one more person here with us. She is very important in our story. And she is very important for the things that we want to talk about today. Taryn. Taryn is our mentor. Taryn is our boss. She's the one who got us all here and has been helping lead us along this path and give us a good framework, especially because, you know, we weren't entirely sure what we were going to be doing with this in the first place. Taryn, would you like to take it away?
Yeah, we weren't sure what we were doing either. So this podcast came from a group called Resilient Donor and Tribal Lands. It's a committee that has been meeting for years to say, what can we do in our community to increase resiliency? And y'all, this podcast, this youth mental health podcast, this was dreamed up like 3 years ago. Folks have been talking about this. And then Amber Weir, who's the director, secured some grant fundings and actually made it happen, and then brought me on board. And we have Kelly here with that works with Amber as well. And really, I was tasked with like a flyer that said we're going to get some youth together to create a podcast about mental health. And that's basically all that any of us had when we first got together, right?
Yeah.
Was a flyer.
Yeah,
and
we
it was
had
so
no idea
vague.
what we were doing.
yeah, and then y'all came and you looked at me like I knew what we were doing, and I didn't know what we were doing either, right?
Yeah.
All I knew is that we needed to make at least 6 episodes about mental health. And then initially, y'all came up with 6 topics, right? And you went and researched those. Do y'all remember any of the initial ideas you'd come up with?
Sigma.
Stigma.
Said stigma. He said sigma.
I did say
It was stigma, right?
Skippy toilet.
So you came up with 6 topics, and then you researched them, and then you came back together and you just practiced with the podcast equipment, and you'd like mic up and you'd talk about what you found, right?
Yep.
And then at the end of, not the end, but kind of like during it, you
Threaded
all
through.
threaded through, y'all were kind of like, hey, like no matter what the kind of condition or diagnosis is, because I know you looked at suicide and you looked at things like parenting, right? You're like, no matter what it is, what helps is relationship and connection, right?
Well, I mean, you know, across everything, all the topics, like you just said, everything centered around people, connection, right? In my little opening spiel, it was all about talking to people. And that's kind of what I think we all believe.
Yep.
Or have come to, not like a conclusion or whatnot, but just
An understanding.
an understanding of how important people are, you know?
Humans are social creatures. We aren't meant to be alone, but in, you know, the society that has been built, it has been normalized for people to not have support systems and to not have people that they can talk to and lean on. And so it's just, we want to be able to share this message of we need to love each other more, and we need to be kinder to each other. We need to talk to more people and make more friends and be supportive for other people, because that's what's going to make the world better.
Yeah, right. So this is like your intro episode, and then you're actually going to start interviewing people in our community, right?
absolutely.
To increase
Absolutely.
those community connections.
Yep.
And I just think it's so powerful how you went from, hey, we're going to like talk about things around mental health to we're going to actually do something
Yeah.
to increase people's positive mental health.
Yeah.
Yay, all of you, right?
Yeah.
We're
so cool.
You are. You all are so cool.
We're
and
so swag and so Sigma.
and no joke, y'all just give me so much hope about our future every time that we get to spend time with you. So I want you to tell everybody the story because it's connected. Why did you name this Anchor Point?
So when we were coming up with a name, we were just throwing a bunch of stuff out there. And I started out and I said, what if we call ourselves anchored because we live by the ocean, and the whole point of this podcast is to create a sense of stability. So that was our original idea, and we liked that, but it didn't hit hard enough. So it was actually Marcus who came up with Anchor Point.
You got to have those 2 syllables, you
Oh,
know.
absolutely.
3?
Anchor point.
Oh, it is 3.
Wow.
No!
You didn't
got
learn
this,
this in preschool?
Geese can fly?
How do you not know that? I was
That's-
actually playing a bird
that's
game the other
something
day
that we-
on Bowblocks, and I was, in fact, a geese.
Bowblocks.
Wow.
It was kind of awesome.
For the definition of an anchor point, it is a strong, stable point of attachment from which a system is secured. It is typically used for rock climbing.
Yeah, I had even been thinking about that, where I was like, is he kind of pulling away from the aquatic theme too much? But also, it says anchored, and also it's a name, and also it fits so well.
It does.
It's just I didn't think
Yeah.
that we were, that was it. It was so perfect for the podcast.
Absolutely. And so I think that was really good. And I'm really glad we all collaborated on that, because I feel like if we had just gone with mine,
If I'm gonna be so honest, I even remember the name that I had come up with was Linked or something, but I couldn't remember where to go with that. Before that, I had thought, hey, we should use anchors in some way, just on my own. But then I was like, when anchors weigh a ship down, how could you use that to make it resemble the meaning of connectivity? And then y'all just came up with the most perfect thing.
literally.
Well, and I knew that y'all had found the name you wanted because, yeah, like you said, right, there was Anchor, and then everybody kind of made fun of it. This sounds like a heavy metal band. And then Marcus
Yeah.
said Anchor Point, and everybody got kind of quiet, and we Googled it. And then I just read out loud to you all what it says, which Azel already read. An anchor point is the strong, stable point of attachment from which a system is secured. And we felt it, right? I'll
Yeah.
never forget the look on everybody's face. You were all in agreement, which is kind
Absolutely.
of a difficult task to achieve. Yeah.
I'm going to name a metal band Anchored, by the way, just out
Say
of
it
spite.
first, Marcus.
I mean, it wasn't that amazing. We weren't just jaw dropped.
We were stunned.
Maybe
We were
Absolutely,
stunned, but it was
done.
we looked it up and then we were like, oh, that's cool, and then we kind of moved on.
Whatever. I was totally stunned. I almost cried.
The woman
What?
was too
Yeah.
stunned to speak.
Okay.
Everyone's jaws were on the floor. I can
Absolutely.
totally speak
No.
because I was definitely there.
No, we
It
were
was like that one scene in The Mask where his jaw falls to the
Yes.
floor and his tongue rolls out down the hallway.
No, we were just our minds blew up. Literally, there was
As
a
soon as
lot.
we read
It was
it.
bad. It was very messy, not a good thing, but I don't know where I'm going with this.
Well, I guess we all had different experiences, which is okay because we all have different brains. But it was really cool to be part of that process, right? And we've talked about how, as you all move forward with this podcast, we really hope that it helps anchor our community in relationships, right? And Lee, I'd love for you to share your drop quote that you've shared before.
Yes. I can understand the idea of why should I make a difference if it's not even that big, For example, why vote? It's just one vote. Or, why should I go and do trash pickup? There's just going to be a bunch more trash in the ocean.
Or you might think, why would I go do a podcast to try to connect people? How far could that go? I'm just one little drop.
One little drop in the ocean, but what is an ocean but a bunch of drops? Thank you.
Absolutely.
Right. So I just really appreciate that all of you are showing up in the ways you're showing up for your community, right? Because even if it's just a drop's still a drop, right? And you very well might reach somebody out there that feels lonely or feels like they don't understand their young person in their life, or a young person that feels like they don't understand the old person in their life. And through this, you all really, really can reach people to help them connect more.
Even not just that, but something that I've noticed, because we've been working on this for under a year, but almost a year now. So we've gotten plenty of time to be able to sit in it and work on it and think on it. And I have noticed that even though we haven't published any of the episodes, it's already started kind of making that difference. The book study. And then you were saying, the people who are looking forward to it. and just learning about, like, for example, Taryn had introduced us to the neurosequential model to help us be able to organize, honestly, for me, like information that I already knew. I just didn't have the language for.
Well, yeah, let me just piggyback off of it a little bit. So another initiative that Resilient Denodal is focused on is creating common language around how the brain works. And the way we're doing that is through a book study on What Happened to You, which is written by Dr. Bruce Perry and Oprah. And you all have been reading that with us.
We
right?
are currently reading chapter 5. It's very interesting. I definitely recommend it. I've had a bunch of fun reading this book, and I'm not a big reader. I haven't read since I was in middle school.
Yeah, it's fantastically written, and it's like a conversation, which is really nice because Dr. Perry's this really smart neuroscientist, but he doesn't use a bunch of scientific language with us. He just like helps us understand the brain in really kind of low level ways, So yeah, as y'all were researching those 6 topics, I would play you some videos from Dr. Bruce Perry or maybe read you a quote out of the book, and then we were like, okay, we should probably have you actually read the book. And I think that had a lot to do with why you all ended up landing on, hey, rather than doing 6 like episodes about mental health topics, why don't we just connect people? Because again, we were saying that regardless of what somebody's experiencing, be it like depression, right, or suicidal ideation or substance use disorders, regardless of kind of those like those negative outcomes, what we know helps all of them is relationship and connection, right? So I'm curious, and I'd love to hear you all maybe just kind of take turns and share, how has learning about the brain, specifically kind of the neurosequential model, through the videos or the reading or even like our everyday conversations, how has that impacted you just in your everyday lives, not even in this podcast? And just take turns.
So I'm actually in college for early childhood development, and I feel like it has definitely like helped me understand the material a lot better, and I feel like it has definitely helped me understand myself a lot better, because I was a very troubled child when I was younger, and I feel like it definitely helped me understand why I behaved the way I did when I was a child. So I feel like it has been very important to me.
Yeah. And Charlie, like what you're saying, that's why I'm so passionate about it personally, is because as I learned, kind of the different concepts behind how the brain works, I started to like myself more because I was like, oh, I'm just a human with a brain.
Absolutely.
Like that's all that's happening is I'm a human with a brain, and so is everybody else around me.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Were you going to jump in, Lee?
Yes. So for me personally, I'm neurodivergent. I have ADHD. I also have autism, and relationships are hard for me. I've had very bumpy relationships with my family, with my peers, with my friends, my entire life, because it was really hard for me to understand that well. And I will say in that, getting to learn about not necessarily people's like feelings or emotions or social norms or rules, just learning how your brain works has helped me to kind of cope with that easier, where it's like, I can't be going into this because, for example, I'm too stressed. I'm too stressed and I need to take a break because I'm not going to be able to access my frontal cortex. Basically, the brain processes information from the bottom up. You have your brainstem, where your reactions are, the middle of your brain where you're like relating and that kind of stuff is, and then your frontal cortex where you can, access like math and logic. And so if you're not regulated and you don't feel connected, you cannot think easily. You won't be able to access that part of your brain. And so it has been able to teach me, well, this is a social situation that I need to step out of. This is a spot where I really shouldn't take it personally because they're not able to access their frontal cortex. They're not thinking logically. Mm-hmm. And it's helped me to be able to feel better about myself. Sorry, didn't mean to go on that ramble, but it felt like necessary information.
Well, I think it's lovely. And it's kind of like, so like if somebody's having a heart attack, you can't expect them to go exercise. That would just be silly, right? But since we don't necessarily understand these like really kind of simple things about our brain, like brain processes from the bottom up, we expect people to be able to do things that they like literally can't do, right? If you're dysregulated, you're hungry, you're stressed, You cannot learn, but we're expecting people to do that the same way we would be expecting a person with a heart attack to go run a marathon. It's silly, right?
I've noticed that this is a lot more common in children. We expect so much of children who like do not have the skills to regulate, and it really it makes me angry. That's all I wanted to add.
Well, I mean, not only do they not have the skills, they literally don't even have the brain development.
Exactly.
Right? Because the cortex doesn't finish developing until, around 27, like our late 20s, right? And we're expecting, I mean, I have a 2-year-old. It's silly of me to expect him to be thoughtful because he doesn't have that part of his brain yet.
Absolutely.
What about for the rest of you? What, if at all, like how is this kind of like looking at the neurosequential model or talking about the brain? How is it showing up in your lives?
It's helped me forgive myself a little bit and hate myself a little bit less.
I love that, Hazel.
That's good.
And when we've done these book studies through Resilient to Noddle, we always have a post survey. Like when folks are done reading the book, we have them take it. And my favorite data point is exactly what you just said, Hazel. It's like almost 100% of people say something like that they just can give themselves more grace now. Mm-hmm. So what about you two?
It's definitely made me feel more connected to people. I mean, I would say I'm a very social person. I'm on a podcast. I go to the public high school. I do volunteer events, and I used to get mad at a lot of people for how they would react in situations, which looking back on it wasn't really my place to, because everyone handles situations differently, and just because I would have handled a situation a certain way doesn't mean everyone will handle it the same way. Mm-hmm. And I definitely think that the model has helped me to understand that a lot more.
Just because people act and think different than you, that does not mean that they are bad or wrong.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, basically a lot of what Nicole said, I share. I think the model itself helps simplify a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. It breaks down into simple terms. Obviously, that's not word for word how people think.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely not.
But the model has come into my life, at least from what Taryn has information-wise towards us about that model. I can use that in my everyday life, right? When I get into those kind of not great situations with people, it gives me a tool to help understand things, because people don't really make much sense. I don't make much sense. Everyone in my life, my family doesn't make much sense.
Why'd you look at me?
Because you were looking at me like that. You were like,
was?
Yeah, no, you were like, like staring at me, like very intense. I hit the emote back.
All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up there. Thank you so much for listening. And big thank you to KFUG and Resilient to Noddle for funding this and
thank
for
you
allowing
so much.
Allowing us this opportunity to connect with the community more. And so for those of you listening, you can find out more about all this at www.resilienttonoddle.org. Donoddle is spelled DNATL. And we hope that you will listen to our next episode. So it's going to be great.
Bye.
I highly recommend come back for us. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Bye. Oh, my voice.